Good morning. This is Pastor Jason of Kona Faith Center with a word for today. And the word for today is disciple. In the past 75 years, the Christian question has been, are you saved? When the Christian question for all eternity is, are you a disciple of Jesus? Jesus said, go and make disciples of all. In Luke 14, Jesus talks about being his disciple. He doesn't say anything about faith, although it is certainly implied. He does say that unless a man hates his family and even his own life, that he cannot be Jesus' disciple. The idea of hate here is a Jewish idiom that means that there is such a vast difference in the kind of loyalty that's being expressed here that the only way to make a proper comparison is the comparison of love and hate. As different as love and hate are, is the difference in the level of loyalty that is necessary to become Jesus' disciple. Don't be ridiculous and think that Jesus is saying hate people. I haven't heard too many sermons on this one. It gets worse. Jesus then says that to be his disciple, that we have to carry our cross. Now, clearly, this is not a physical cross. The cross was an instrument of death, a cruel death at that. The idea being expressed here is that to be a disciple of Jesus requires death to self in control, death to all that I want, other than the wanting of being a disciple of Jesus, the wanting to follow Jesus. And then Jesus throws the gauntlet down and says, sit down first, count the cost. I don't think I've ever heard a sermon on sit down first and count the cost before coming to Jesus. But that's exactly what he's saying here. Most of the preaching and teaching that I hear is based on the reward-benefit system approach. Believe in Jesus and tiptoe through the tulips, eating chocolate-dipped strawberries with me. Oh! Now, there are tulips and there are chocolate-dipped strawberries, but that's not the call here. In reality, the call to come to Jesus is a call to become Jesus' disciple. It's the call to follow Jesus. It's the call to be a disciple of Jesus. A disciple lives all in. A disciple has crucified their own desires and replaced them with Jesus' desires. A disciple is loyal to Jesus above all else, period. A disciple lives a life of surrender to Jesus, period. A disciple recognizes that they are no longer their own. They are bought with a price, the blood of Jesus, and they now belong to Jesus. A disciple recognizes that it's no longer their will, but God's will. A disciple recognizes that their life is now about serving, not about being served. A disciple recognizes that it will cost them everything to be a disciple of Jesus. Now, there's rewards, lots of them, but being a disciple is not about rewards. The Christian life is the best possible life, far and away, but being a disciple is not about having a good life. The Christian life does lead to heaven, but being a disciple is not about going to heaven. The discipled life is about being so captivated by Jesus, so overwhelmed by Jesus, so in love with Jesus, in such passionate pursuit of Jesus that everything else fades to black, that nothing else satisfies, that responding to Jesus in obedience, without debate, without resistance, without delay, is the natural lifestyle of a disciple. Now, it would be really easy to make some sort of reward-benefit proposition here like most people do. However, the only real challenge today is to count the cost of living the life of a disciple. You're either in or you're out. There's no riding the fence. Jesus says, whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. The word for today is disciple. God bless. Check in tomorrow.